Hi everybody, Rad Mom here. Welcome back to the garden. We're out here at night this time to look at some more fun stuff from the Majority Report, and this one is a doozy. Boy, these mainstream outlets they're finally getting really into the game, and it's just hot and fast. And then lately, but first, like the video if you enjoy my content and subscribe to the channel to let the algorithm know that. And let's see what the crew has going on tonight.
Ruffo, the anti-CRT guy, right, Bradley?
He created it. In fact, he once tweeted out saying, "We're gonna make CRT mean everything that is a boogeyman to Republicans, including just blackness and gayness and all of it."
And
I don't know how you would do that. I mean, I'm not a propagandist, and I guess, full disclosure, I'm not sure who this guy is. But he's not the point. The things that come out of these people's mouths here in a minute is the point. Here we go.
Transness, which is now why he's been harping on anti-trans bigotry. Here he is. Let's just some of the context of what this guy's rhetoric has been like. Here he is on Tucker Carlson's from last Thursday, talking about trans people. The Trans Wellness Conference. Did you play this clip already?
If you'll recall from last week with
right.
the Newsmax clip, this is like he went to it. This is like a dispatched, reported clip about
trans
wellness.
There's been a lot of that lately, hasn't there? People infiltrating this convention and that convention, but yeah, a Trans Wellness Convention. Let's just sit and think for a moment what that might entail. How many different kinds of gizmos and doodads do you need to pretend to be the opposite sex?
This seminar in Philadelphia.
So we played a clip last week of this Republican
from Massachusetts
talking about how it was just authoritarian that these teachers were being invited to a voluntary pro-trans seminar throughout the country.
The largest trans health expo.
Right. I'm sure that it's voluntary. Right? Just like accepting the ideology is voluntary. You don't have to, but if you don't, you'll just be ostracized.
Here's Chris Ruffo on Tucker talking about it.
We know this exists because of Chris Ruffo, who's really hated for it, by the way, but admired by us. He's a journalist and a filmmaker. He joins us tonight. Chris, thanks so much.
I'm so sorry to pitch y'all through Tucker Carlson.
Going on. You can see when people are just giving up on the schools. What exactly was that we watched?
Sure. This is the Philadelphia Trans Wellness Conference, and the administrators from the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at the Philadelphia Public Schools invited all the teachers in the district to attend. They promoted it. They offered to help with some coordinating assistance. And this conference was really shocking. They were encouraging minors who attended the conference to start with puberty blockers. One doctor who attended said he'd performed 2,000 top surgeries in which he removed the breasts of healthy young women.
That all sounds pretty standard for this kind of stuff, doesn't it? Because yeah, of course, young people who are there are going to be encouraged to pursue whatever it is they're considering pursuing. Because if you think you might be trans, well, you're trans, right?
Charging.
Pause it. Sorry, young women there. Notice the bait and switch there, but
no, that would be him using the accurate terminology. And again, I don't know who this guy is, and I can't fucking stand Tucker Carlson. But yeah, no, you don't have breasts to remove unless you're female.
Continue as go on.
$1,000 a pop, so he's earned up to $20 million in revenues by doing this surgery. Then you had kind of sex toys and other artificial ejaculation devices that were exhibited. Really strange.
Can we pause it for 1 second? Does anybody know? I mean, I know I'm the square here. What is an artificial ejaculation?
Well, it's a way for trans men to.
Oh, I see. Okay. To artificially ejaculate.
Yeah, because we all know that if you are a man, that is the most important bodily function.
We don't really need more.
That was the thrust of why this came up.
Phrasing.
because they were.
Yeah,
he
so
posted this segment.
he went on Tucker Carlson to speak about the horrors that he saw at this voluntary conference in Philadelphia.
But like it does. This is exactly par for the course, and nothing that I wouldn't have expected going to something called a trans wellness conference. And you know, if you're not on board with this kind of thing, it's a lot.
That the only, I just wanted to point out, the only connection it has to the school district was that it made a bulletin board.
Right. Not
It was
mandatory,
posted on a bulletin board.
just suggested. And everyone in the conservative movement can't shut up about it. Chris Ruffo tweeted.
That's really interesting because, again, this is the first time I've ever even heard of this man, much less this conference. But, their reactions are just too good. Let's go.
Out this appearance on Tucker Carlson. But here is, if we can put up this exchange. He says, the gender ideology movement has secured millions in taxpayer funding to promote puberty blockers, double mastectomies, prosthetic genitalia, and bizarre sexual fetishes to children. It has to stop.
Yep. I am not a conservative person. It's really, really, really strange. And it's given me pause, no doubt. These are the sort of people who... But they have the same similar priorities for very different reasons. You know, it's like having a runny nose. It can be caused by a lot of different things.
That's not true. But here, Kara Dansky, who is
it's
an
just not
infamous
true, huh?
TERF writer.
She's the leader or the head person of the Women's Liberation Front, I believe. They're an organization that does, campaigning and stuff, which is why
responded to Ruffo.
Another frequent Tucker guest too, by the way.
Yes, saying, hey, you didn't give me credit for this. Chris, you've been getting quite a bit of flack on here for jumping into the space without realizing that women, aka trans exclusionary feminists,
she acknowledged that we're feminists. But yeah, I don't support necessarily standing next to people like Tucker Carlson just to get the word out. I mean, I know that we need platforms, but come on.
Have been at this for years. Here's my book in case you want to check it out and retweet. That would be very helpful. Basically, why are you not citing my hate work in your hate work? And he responded here.
God. How exactly is it hateful to not want children to be exposed to this stuff? I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense.
I actually haven't been getting flack, and I certainly don't believe I need permission from feminists to report on gender. My reporting follows my curiosity and nothing else, and frankly, those of you who have been at this for years have done nothing but lose ground.
Ooh, I mean, I'll give him this. This guy's a dick. Right. He obviously doesn't know who she is. And this is a really sort of fancy way of saying, I don't give a shit. Nice.
And then Katie Herzog, another TERF writer, jumps into the mix here and said, but that might be the next slide.
I'm saying that tweet.
Interrupting Cal.
These interrupting Cal, those women who have been at it for years, are the same reason you are aware of it now. Why
the sole
weren't you
reason.
speaking
Yes.
out even 5 or 10 years ago? This is honestly the most hilarious thing. Like,
I know. Great. But
I was hating years before you were.
Hating. He was pretty hateful to Kara Dansky. And I admit anyway, we'll get there. But so, like, what is so funny? What exactly is so funny? That, yeah. Some of us have been talking about this and trying to speak up against the idea that anyone's born in the wrong body for quite a while now. And this guy just stumbled upon it like a babe in the woods.
I was discriminating against these people and bigoted against them back when you were in diapers, buddy.
I was causing suicidal ideation way before you even thought about it.
If you think that someone else is causing your suicidal ideation, you need some serious therapy.
about this.
And that's what's so Katie Herzog.
Look at the blood on my hands, and your hands are just
way bloodier,
soft, and like so clean.
Yeah, the blood on your hands is still wet.
Right.
Blood on our hands, huh? Mm-hmm. Right. No comment, meanwhile, about the fella who's been, slicing the breasts off perfectly healthy young women. No blood on his hands, I suppose.
Here's Katie Herzog's response. Another turf. This is so effing annoying. I love.
Okay, I have to admit here that I'm not familiar with Katie Herzog's work, but it's just so weird to hear some of these words coming out of the mouths of people I've been listening to talk about national politics off and on for years. It's like they're trespassing on our front lawn.
Love this. Matt Walsh, Bill Maher, Chris Ruffo, etc. bathe in praise while the women who've been fighting this for years are harassed, ignored, and cast out of their own community. Every one of these guys owes a debt to...
What the fuck is so funny about that? That's literally what's been going on.
To feminists, detransitioners, and others who have been speaking out at no small cost to themselves. Let's see if they ever acknowledge that publicly.
They probably won't. But what the fuck is so funny?
Blah, blah. And Chris Ruffo responds to her. We don't have the full context, but this
let's get more of it. I mean, this is
but while you find it, this is the point. This is the point. These turf feminists are shocked that their right-wing views are being taken by right-wingers.
Okay, wait a minute. Disagreeing with all this woo and the idea that people are born in the wrong body and then people can change their sex and that little children need to be introduced to these ideas just so urgently. How is that right wing? I mean, conservative is just, kind of questioning change, I guess, in a nutshell, which I really don't like that idea because, of course, conservative means something else, doesn't it? And I'm about as religious fundamentalist as I am tall. I'm not. So, like, the fact that there are people outside of y'all's little bubble who all still live in the world the way that it actually is, that doesn't mean that we agree on anything else. We're still fighting the same fights that you guys have just decided are over. And now we're conservatives because you guys have just moved on. It's the future now. Everybody here seems to be having a really good time, except for this lady on the left who is just incensed.
And they aren't getting credit because, I don't know if you know this, guys, the fact that you've been trafficking in hateful ideology.
Objecting to, what was it exactly? Let's see. Kids getting puberty blockers, double mastectomies, prosthetic genitalia. I'm not sure what he means by bizarre sexual fetishes, because I'm pretty sure, like, most of that could qualify under that he'd already mentioned specifically. But, objecting to this stuff being aimed at teachers and thusly children specifically is hateful. Not even objecting, just raising the issue of like, hey, wait a minute, why?
Means that hateful people are going to pick it up, and they also hate you. They also hate women because they're bigots. So this.
Okay, now that is one legitimate point that they do make, which has been made before, which is another reason that we don't stand next to conservatives, just because they agree with us on this one point that we, exist, is because they will inevitably turn on us.
It's just like, I'm sorry that the chickens have come home to roost for you hating trans people, and you're not getting, as Will of Chapo put it, the proper citation.
I don't know who that is either, but what the fuck? Who's hating trans people? In this, any of the examples that they've given, what the fuck are they talking about? Come on.
For your hate speech, hate speech, and frankly, they're being dismissive of you because not only are they transphobic like you are, they're also sexist. So look at the bedfellows that you made. Congratulations, Katie Herzog. Enjoy your new fucking friends, because these are the people, your bedfellows, when you decide to hate on trans people. I love it. I love it. I hope they continue to cite your work without citation, and that nobody else buys the rest of your books for the rest of your life. I hope so.
Damn. Girlfriend is mad. I mean, what the hell, right? Like, she must know someone who thinks that they're trans. You know, somebody that she cares about. She's obviously very, very invested in this topic.
Emma SNBC. I am TERFs versus misogynists is the fight we didn't know we needed.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on. It's been on for a while, and yes, we definitely need it.
Fight.
All right, sorry, let's hear. What's Ruffo saying? No, I rejected this specific patronizing gatekeeping. You need to acknowledge you're a male interloper. By the way, RT and buy my book. I don't align ideologically with radical feminists of either variety and reject the idea they have special status on these issues.
Okay, feminism is sort of a radical ideology, just in its very, just in its basis. This crazy idea that women should be free to live our lives how we want. Ridiculous, right? I know.
Does anybody respond to there? Let's see. And then Herzog says, you obviously don't need anyone's permission, but your contention that feminists haven't accomplished anything shows a complete lack of understanding of this issue. The reason you know about this in the first place is because of feminists.
Agreed.
I just love, this is honestly...
Oh, they're not giving feminists credit? This kind of feminist? I'm so shocked.
I wish, honestly,
But this is the model,
I could liquefy
though, right?
this and just bathe in it for weeks.
You can't, because it's everywhere.
Oh, just but just that fight there is just, I mean, honestly, it's like, your bigotry is actually subjugating. Our shared bigotry should be a bond, and yet, you don't recognize this.
This was Ruffo's last.
You'd think that agreeing that biological sex is a thing and is important would be some sort of common ground, but we pretty much go in opposite directions from there.
Last response to Herzog.
You misunderstand the grounds of my opposition. I don't believe trans-exclusive radical feminism can solve the problem of trans-exclusive radical feminism. Inclusive radical feminism.
Yeah, way to totally muck that up, Sam. He doesn't think that trans-exclusive radical feminism can solve the problems of trans-inclusive radical feminism, so liberal feminism. Why?
It can highlight certain errors, but sure, my desired state is not a TERF-approved gender curriculum in schools. In other words, you don't get it. I'm against feminism, too.
Yeah.
I want to be clear about this. I also don't.
And I love the feminists.
He wants to be clear. He failed, but it was a nice try, I guess.
Going I cannot believe that our shared transphobia can't overcome your misogyny.
I cannot believe that the scorpion stung my back.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, kind of.
Right.
Yeah. Listen. Can we all just agree that we don't like black people? Can we start there with our shared hatred of people from a different race?
Again, with the comparison to the race thing. All right. Well, look. Race isn't really a thing either. But it is observable. Right? You can look at someone's skin and tell that it is a different color. Okay? And, they are going to have various social and cultural experiences stemming from their family and heritage. Okay? But, how exactly is that like someone thinking that they're not something that they are? Or they are something that they're not? How exactly is that? Because trans is not measurable. If it were, self-ID would not be an issue. Because they would just, you'd have a test. A brain scan, a blood test, something. A psychological exam. They don't even have soft science to back the shit up, okay? Literally, you can just say, oh, I'm trans now, and be that. And don't get me started on the non-binaries and the absolute gibberish that comes out of those people's mouths.
Of course, we wouldn't say hatred. I understand that, but we're in this together.
Is there no camaraderie anymore?
Maybe.
Everyone's just tearing themselves apart on the anti-trans.
This is the.
No. I don't think that these people were working together in the first place. They're acting like this is, some sort of intra-group fight. And, clearly, Kara didn't know this guy, and he did not know who the fuck she was either.
The problem with having Parler shut down. We can't have these allied conversations without other people seeing this.
Well, she should blame Tucker Carlson. That's what.
Tucker Carlson is the one who's given her a platform repeatedly, more times than that weirdo, that asshole. Okay, so but
I want to see. Like, why did she go after him, not Tucker? Tucker gave him the platform, so maybe that's what's next. She goes on there, she blasts her feminist perspective on Tucker, see how he reacts to that.
That's exactly what she does. I've watched a couple of them just to see, and it's kind of satisfying. If not for the fact that it was giving him ratings.
I just
that is blood in your veins.
I mean, I gotta say, in this battle, I have more respect for Ruffo than I do these.
Right, of course you do. I mean, he believes literally the exact same thing, supposedly, right? You guys just lumped them all together. And now he's playing favorites with the man. Of course.
These the turfs, I guess, because.
Well, I do too. I mean,
diluted do they have to be?
That's the thing.
Katie Herzog's one of the biggest idiots online. She was the one who did that podcast with Zaid Gilani like 2 years ago with Extreme Laugh Line, Mike Cernovich and Katie Herzog on troll social media mobs. And the entire thing was like, a lot of people think this of Mike Cernovich, but he says he's just apolitical, so who knows?
Okay, thanks for the random anecdote guy who isn't on the show. I'm vaguely aware of who these people are. I'm sorry, I have 4 kids. I don't get around much.
Yeah. How stupid do you have to be to think that they're going to respect your feminism?
I mean, there is that. Going on and yelling at Tucker Carlson is one thing, but actually expecting to convince him of anything, that's a fool's errand. Thank you, Sam, for making one solid point.
Because she's in a bubble. She doesn't, I think ultimately there's a group of TERFs that are not used to being outside of their bubble, getting their think pieces published. Even if it's a conservative who can engage online, they're just not used to getting pushback from the more conservative elements of the community because they've been useful idiots, useful tools up until now.
Totally.
And that's essentially what's happening.
Yeah, I think they might be onto something there too. The conservatives are starting to be on the winning side again. And, they don't need us.
And I can assure you, they're going to maintain that delusion because they're going to think this is just Ruffo.
Yeah.
As opposed to everybody else there who's I would say.
I'm sorry, but did he just say the feminists don't understand misogynists in general are bad? That's literally our whole thing, dude.
I can't count high enough the number of people who probably DM'd Ruffo to go thank you for doing that, man.
Objection. Speculation. How the fuck do you know who's in his DMs, Sam? Come on.
so overdue. Those like we don't. Like, if we've got to ally with feminists, we don't. First of all, this is gonna be hurtful. But the transphobes don't need you, feminists.
Yeah.
They don't need you. You're helpful to a certain extent, but really just marginally speaking.
And it's all
conservatives just need you in the kitchen making a sandwich. Yep. They're not going to, okay, see, like, if we give them any kind of ratings or energy or steam or attention or anything, they are not going to repay the favor if they get the opportunity. No.
Also, just like what's also funny to me about it too is that like the TERF movement coming out of the UK was like the fact that these feminists who whatever identify as left in other areas, which like frankly, if you're anti-trans, we don't want you.
Excuse me. And if you're pro-trans, then you're not the leftist that you think you are. Because it's fascist. But like, identify as what are you talking about? Like whom?
But that they didn't realize that they were essentially targeted by a right-wing coordinated media campaign that got them to push these narratives. And
does anybody know what the fuck this is about? I've literally been following British politics on this topic for the better part of a decade. What the fuck is this?
These were always their...
What is, the media campaign that's going to convince women that we exist?
Bedfellows, even if they were blind to it. These were always the people sleeping beside them. In fact, they were the people egging them on. And so, yeah, these are the only people that you're going to have left if you continue to go down this road.
Okay, I don't know about that, but conservatives are definitely two-faced. And the ends usually justify the means for those people, right? Because they're on a mission from God.
So yeah,
but it's also part of their strategy, as you say. Like they find these entrance points, whether it's like the wellness community and suddenly they're anti-vaxxers and now suddenly they're culture warriors, or the anti-imperialist community and suddenly same thing I think with a group of feminists. They knew that they could loop them into a larger conservative movement, except for you can't go that far.
Okay. How far is that? What is she talking about? Okay, but like there has been a sort of a rash of radicalization going around for a while now, right? That's true. Part of it is backlash to this and that. Part of it is economic situations. Part of it is I wish I could explain it all, but this is a hell of a conspiracy theory that she's got cooking, isn't it?
And let's be real, these are white feminists. I mean, these are like, and I'm using that in the academic sense.
No, I completely and wholeheartedly object to the notion that white feminism is in any way an academic term. We covered that with her a couple months ago now. Mm-hmm. She interviewed someone who'd written a whole book about white feminism. And yet still somehow, I'm not sure what it is, but she's going to tell us.
They're white feminists, women who don't view feminism as intersectional, and like maybe they were interested in intersectional feminism at one point, and they'll give lip service to black feminists, etc. But if you draw the line,
like a lot of radical feminists are black feminists. I keep having to make this point. I keep having to point at Karen Davis and the Queen. Okay. That's why I keep bringing up her specifically, is because she is the Queen. Love you, Karen. But anyway, I've met many others, in my wanderings through TERF Twitter and whatever. But like, obviously feminism is intersectional because women are half the planet. We're everywhere. Which I think is why this has been such an easy sell to a lot of us, this idea that feminism is for everyone, because feminism should be everywhere, because women are everywhere. But, just because something works in one direction does not mean that if you flip it around, it works that way as well.
line at trans feminists, you're not an intersectional feminist. And it's a right-wing, hateful ideology. And so you're going to be in concert with other hateful bigots.
Like, you can say it as many times as you want. It doesn't make it true.
Enjoy it.
I quit the National Aryan League to join the White Resistance Front because I felt like the National Aryan League just did not respect me as a woman.
This is journalism. How much do these people get paid? This is gross. I should start a Patreon. I do more work than these idiots. Look at this shit.
Woman and did not appreciate my feminist viewpoints, and so therefore I'm now a member of the white supremacists. I mean, it's just
right, yeah, because you could only recognize that women as a distinct biological class exist in material reality if you're also a white supremacist. Again, race is not actually a thing. But this is just lazy and mean at this point.
Your bigotry's nuanced, right? You know, they gotta find the right gradations.
What? So yeah, that was a lot. It was like 15 minutes of airtime they used on that nonsense. Why? You know, and Emma is her name. Emma was just really, really angry. Everyone else is laughing, and Emma's really, really angry. Which, frankly, her reaction at least makes some sense. That's the usual reaction you get, right? Is the extreme defensive reaction. What exactly the fuck is so funny about those ladies, you know, making the points that they did? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's just that we're meant... It doesn't matter. I think it almost doesn't even matter what they were saying. We're just meant to look like a laughingstock. Okay? Because every time that I see coverage of this on any mainstream channel, all the coverage that I see is hard skewed on discrediting us in our position. Because, I mean, they have to skew that pretty hard, right? Because our position is biological material reality is still a thing. And never changed just because they wanted it to. That's it. It's pretty simple, and I think most people understand the world that way. When the rubber meets the road, so they have to slant it. They have to push it so hard. And, you know, they're trying to disarm us by laughing at us. And yelling at us. The combination is really interesting, I think. You know, they kind of covered all their bases there. But the only thing they didn't do is actually get a trans person or a feminist in to talk about any of this stuff. But, you know. Why do that when you can spend, you know, like a full minute, give or take, doing a random impression of some sort of southern, you know, racist? I don't know. I've met plenty of people with northern accents who are racist as shit. So, you know. But whatever. They are really, really trying to give the general public a sense that we should not be listened to at all. For this reason or that reason. And even if the reasons contradict each other, it doesn't matter. Just throw it all at the wall. And we'll see what sticks, because it doesn't even matter. They just don't want us to be listened to, period. They'll, you know, yell us down. They'll shout us down. They'll laugh at us. They will act like it's settled out of nowhere, right? So, yeah, obviously we have to counter this crap. And obviously, I don't think this shit is very funny. But they obviously do, I guess. I don't know. Did those even seem like real laughs to you guys? Really? I mean, it's kind of awkward. Because how do you counter something like this? That's a bunch of nonsense. How in the fuck do I... I like to argue with them. But like, how do I argue with just yelling about hateful rhetoric? Hateful rhetoric. Where was the hateful rhetoric? Where the fuck did you see any? Because I didn't see any. Well, okay. There was that guy being a dickhead to Kara Dansky. But besides that, and certainly not from our people. They were speaking up and claiming for themselves their rightful places, having been speaking up about this stuff for years. Because, why in the hell does a little girl need a prosthetic penis? That seems like a legitimate question to ask. So, it's like they just are... I swear they must have somebody in charge of just kind of looking for this stuff these days. Is the tide starting to turn? Is that what it is? Do they feel that we're coming for them? The lawsuits are starting to really roll out now. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. There's been so much coverage of this lately, so much discussion of this lately. Why specifically now? If anybody knows that, please drop it in the comments. I would love to know. If there's something coming up, I'd love to prepare for it. Anyways, we're getting a bit long, so thank you so much for sticking with me through this pile of garbage. It's good to know what they're saying so that we can be ready for it when, and defend ourselves if we get the opportunity. You know what to expect, because quite frankly, I was shocked almost into silence by this the first time I saw it. And, if someone like Emma was coming at me to my face, I don't think I would argue with that person. Honestly, I think I would just leave. Just get out of there, because she's clearly not being rational about this. Like, none of them are. The stuff that they're saying doesn't make any sense. But we knew that. You can't be born in the wrong body, and you can't change your sex. And around here, we do materialist feminism. So, yeah. I'm going to just keep on saying that stuff over and over and over and over and over again. Maybe somebody will notice. If I piss off the right person, that would be great. Wish me luck, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more stuff like this. I have been Rad Mom, and I'm going to go find some more of this stuff to pick apart for you. See you soon.